The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a brand new obsession.
Because honestly, when the biggest pop star on the planet decides to tie the knot, the entire world just stops to watch.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today, we are looking at a story that has completely taken over the internet.
Yeah, we are getting into why Taylor Swift's wedding rules are raising eyebrows. Because the scale of this is just wild.
It really is. I mean, imagine planning an event where your absolute biggest expense isn't the venue or the catering or, the flowers.
But it's the legal team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are looking at a scenario where absolute ironclad secrecy has become the ultimate luxury commodity.
We're just weeks away from what might be the most anticipated, intensely scrutinized celebrity event of the decade. I'm talking about the rumored July 3rd, 2026 wedding of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
And the craziest part, the headline dominating the news cycle right now isn't about the dress or the ring.
No, not at all. It's about the fact that the sheer scale of the security measures is raising eyebrows across the globe.
It's this fascinating collision of pop culture spectacle and the mechanics of modern privacy. We're watching two people attempt to manufacture a completely closed environment while existing under, a microscope of unprecedented scale.
So, welcome to the deep dive. Today's stack of sources is a massive, wild mix.
Oh, it really is. We've got everything from celebrity gossip sites like TMZ and The Blast to a luxury wedding magazine called the WED.
Yeah, and we're also pulling from a deep dive Wikipedia page on a highly specific fandom conspiracy, a snark-filled Reddit thread, a British op-ed, and surprisingly enough, a dense University of Florida Law Review article.
It's an incredibly eclectic stack, but our mission today isn't to just recap tabloid headlines, right?
Exactly. We are using this massive logistical puzzle to explore how we think about privacy today. We want to look at the intense psychology behind parasocial relationships.
And, the fascinating, almost backward legal paradox of trying to force people to keep a secret using a contract.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because the logistics alone are completely blowing my mind.
Where do we even start?
Well, first of all, nobody seems to completely agree on where this is even happening. The rumors are wildly contradictory.
And that conflicting information, that is perhaps the most revealing part of this entire operation. The confusion is not an accident.
Oh, totally. It's a feature of the security design. Because on one side, you have sources like The Spun reporting that Swift is transforming her $17 million Rhode Island estate into this highly intimate residential venue.
Right, the whole teenage dream aesthetic.
Yeah, just a literal ocean of white, purple, and pink floral arrangements. It sounds like this secluded private fortress.
But then you look at the reports from TMZ and The Blast, and they are pushing a completely different, exponentially louder narrative.
Which is the Madison Square Garden rumor.
Exactly. They're reporting a massive 3-day buyout of Madison Square Garden in New York City. We are talking about a venue that costs roughly $1 million a night just to secure the building.
And that's completely disregarding the physical reality of locking down a multi-block radius in Midtown Manhattan.
Right. So how do you get two massively different, highly specific stories leaking to the major press outlets at the exact same time?
Well, according to the sources in the Daily Mail and discussions on Reddit, Swift is allegedly pulling a classic Agatha Christie trap.
Okay, I love this. For those who might not be familiar with British tabloid lore, the Agatha Christie reference goes back to this famous defamation case involving Colleen Rooney and Rebecca Vardy.
That's a wild story.
It really is. Rooney suspected someone in her private circle was leaking stories to the press, so she started posting fake, highly specific stories to her private Instagram.
And she restricted the visibility, right?
Exactly. She restricted it so that only one specific account could see each story.
She was essentially watermarking her rumors, like a military counterintelligence operation.
Precisely. When a specific fake story appeared in the Sun newspaper, she knew exactly whose account it leaked from. It is a brilliant strategy.
And according to the insiders, Swift is employing a very similar tactic. Physical paper trails like traditional save-the-dates were reportedly skipped entirely.
Instead, she's supposedly calling guests personally to invite them.
But here is the genius part. She is feeding slightly different details to different pockets of guests.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you tell your childhood friends the wedding is in Rhode Island, and you tell your makeup team it's a 3-day buyout at Madison Square Garden.
The moment TMZ publishes the Madison Square Garden detail, you have instantly smoked out the mole.
Exactly. You know exactly which circle compromised the operation.
It's a literal information trap. You are testing the loyalty of your inner circle before they ever step foot in the venue.
And that's not even the wildest part. Because for the guests who actually passed that initial test, who confirmed their attendance without leaking the decoy details, they hit the next layer of the fortress.
The non-disclosure agreement.
The iron-clad NDA. According to TMZ, guests who RSVP are sent a digital link to sign a strict NDA with severe legal consequences before they are even given the actual final details of the day.
Which honestly has led to some pretty funny moments in the media.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like Travis's mom, Donna Kelce. She was stopped by reporters at an airport and basically laughed the whole thing off.
Yeah, she told TMZ she didn't need to sign an NDA because she, quote, knows how to keep a secret.
And then you have the British talk show host, Graham Norton. He joked on his podcast about signing multiple NDAs just to attend.
Right, and the American media took his dry sarcasm completely literally and ran all these massive headlines about it.
He actually had to issue a clarification explaining it was just a joke.
It just shows how frantic the media is for any real detail. But wait, if you're loving these Hollywood twists so far, make sure you're subscribed because we've got even crazier stories ahead in this deep dive.
Yes, definitely hit subscribe. So we have decoy venues, rumor watermarking, and digital NDAs just to get the address. But here is the massive contradiction that I just can't get over.
A guest list.
Yes. You go through all of this trouble to build an airtight vault of privacy. But according to TMZ and the Daily Mail, the guest list is between 1,100 and 1,200 people.
This is the inherent friction of the whole event. You cannot demand absolute, hermetically sealed privacy while simultaneously hosting a guest list the size of a small town.
1,200 people is a corporate conference. And it supposedly includes people Swift has only met in passing. Let's look at who actually made the cut.
We have the confirmed heavy hitters, right? Selena Gomez, Gigi Hadid, Ed Sheeran, Sabrina Carpenter.
And even the model Karlie Kloss is reportedly invited, which is significant because it signals a mended friendship after years of alleged distance.
But honestly, the drama isn't about who is inside the fortress.
No, the real drama is about who got exiled.
The omissions tell us a lot about how ruthlessly this narrative is being controlled.
Let's talk about the R. Travis and Taylor subreddit. It's this community dedicated to scrutinizing the couple, and they are dissecting the uninvited list.
And what are they saying?
Well, according to rumors swirling there, Travis's own father, Ed Kelce, was reportedly left completely in the dark about the details.
Oh, wow. Why?
The alleged reason is that he's viewed as a loose cannon by the PR team. Back in August, he apparently spoke to the press about the engagement without authorization.
Right, he mentioned that Taylor was getting antsy for a ring.
Exactly. In a highly controlled PR machine, an unscripted, overly chatty relative is a massive liability.
Even Travis's sister-in-law, Kylie Kelce, stated publicly on a podcast that she has absolutely no details about the event.
And the culling extends to former A-list friends, too. The sources claim Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are off the list.
That's a huge shift, and the rumored reason is fascinating.
Yeah, Lively recently went through a highly publicized, messy legal drama with Justin Baldoni over their movie, It Ends With Us.
And during that fallout, private text messages became public record.
So the rumor is that Swift's team wanted to completely distance her from any reputation-damaging legal exposure.
It illustrates that access to this tier of celebrity is highly conditional. Oh, and Miles and Kelly Teller also allegedly cut due to a past rift, even though Miles recently appeared on Travis's podcast.
But, the restriction that is generating the most debate isn't actually about the celebrities. It's about the everyday guests.
The +1 ban.
Yes. There is reportedly a strict no +1s rule. Only official, established romantic partners are allowed.
So no casual dates, no new relationships, no random friends brought along to fill a seat.
None. And, okay, I have to play devil's advocate here, because there is an op-ed in The Independent by Esme Gordon-Craig that perfectly captures how I feel about this.
She essentially declares war on the no +1 rule, right?
She does. She argues that random +1s are exactly what make a wedding fun. She tells this great story about crashing a wedding as a last-minute +1, drinking champagne with strangers, and dancing on stage with the band.
Which sounds like a blast, to be fair.
It does. If you strip away the +1s, aren't you completely killing the joy of the event? If you treat every guest as a potential liability, you're not hosting a wedding anymore. You're hosting a hostage situation with an open bar.
Okay, for a normal wedding, you are absolutely right. A typical wedding thrives on that kind of spontaneous energy. But think about the baseline reality of two people whose entire lives are monetized by the public.
True.
When you are that famous, your baseline state is extreme exposure. If you invite a casual plus one, you aren't just inviting a fun dancer.
Right. You are inviting someone who knows they can sell a blurry photo of the cake to TMZ for $50,000.
Exactly. So the lack of plus ones isn't about being stingy, it's about threat assessment. When your life is entirely public, limiting a room to known entities is the only way to manufacture a psychological feeling of safety.
To them, a plus one is literally just a breach waiting to happen.
Hmm.
But later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming when it comes to keeping these secrets.
Yes, because you can't build a fortress this big without casting a massive shadow. Trying to tightly control a narrative on this scale breeds resentment.
And wild speculation from the outside looking in. Which brings us to the intense backlash this wedding is already generating.
We are seeing that backlash manifest in two very distinct ways: physical infrastructure and digital spaces.
Let's start with the physical reality. If that Madison Square Garden rumor is actually true, the local business owners in New York City are furious.
Which seems totally counterintuitive at first glance, right? Because a massive event at MSG usually brings in millions of dollars in revenue for the surrounding area.
Right, but according to The Blast and TMZ, the sports bars and restaurants around MSG are dreading this. Normally, early July means huge crowds of high-spending NBA fans flooding the area.
But a celebrity wedding means massive security blockades, street closures, and a completely different demographic.
Exactly. The local businesses don't believe a VIP wedding crowd is going to stop into a dive bar for wings and beers. Some owners are calling it a potential financial disaster.
One owner is even demanding compensation from the couple for the lost revenue. It perfectly illustrates how an attempt to hold a, quote, private event of this magnitude inevitably crashes into the public infrastructure.
But the digital backlash is even louder. Enter the subreddit cynics. The Travis Taylor community is treating this whole hyper-secretive operation as an absolute circus.
They point out exactly what you said earlier. A 1,200-person secret wedding at MSG is an oxymoron.
Yeah, they're calling it a tacky, attention-seeking PR stunt, disguised as a demand for privacy.
Which brings us to an even deeper, much more complex digital backlash. We need to look at the Wikipedia source on the Gaylor phenomenon.
And as we discuss this, we want to make it super clear to the listener. We're looking at this completely objectively as a case study in the profound mechanics of parasocial relationships. We are just reporting what the sources say.
Absolutely. So to explain the phenomenon impartially based on the Wikipedia source, the Gaylors are a faction of fans who believe that Taylor Swift is a closeted queer woman.
And that her heterosexual relationships, including this engagement to Travis Kelce, are staged PR stunts or bearding.
Historically, they have pointed to perceived clues in her lyrics and shipped her with close friends like Diana Agron and Karlie Kloss.
And it is critical to state what the source material reflects from the other side. Swift's team and the people involved have repeatedly and strongly denied these theories.
Yes, CNN reported that Swift's associates called the speculation invasive, untrue, and inappropriate.
And Swift herself explicitly wrote in the prologue to her 1989 Taylor's Version album that the media has unfairly sexualized her female friendships. Both Agron and Kloss have also firmly dismissed the romantic rumors.
But despite those very clear, on-the-record denials, when the engagement to Kelce was announced in August 2025, the reaction from this specific community was extreme.
Yeah, the Wikipedia article notes that they essentially had a complete meltdown. They literally locked down their subreddits to prevent outsiders from seeing their reactions.
Some users claim the engagement dress looked like a prison uniform. There were reports of people suffering actual panic attacks and severe mental distress over the news.
What is fascinating from a psychological standpoint is why human beings react this way to a celebrity's personal life.
Well, if we tie this back to our main theme, the NDAs, the decoy venues, the intense need for control, it all stems from the nature of the modern audience. Because the audience doesn't just consume the art anymore.
Right. They feel a deeply entitled, almost proprietary ownership over the celebrity's personal identity.
Exactly. Our brains evolved in small tribes. When you see someone's face every single day on your phone, your brain subconsciously categorizes them as a friend.
The fans build a narrative that they are emotionally invested in. So when the celebrity's actual life contradicts the narrative the fans created, the reaction isn't just disappointment.
It is processed by the brain as a profound, real-world personal betrayal. They feel like someone they trusted lied to them, even though they've never actually met.
So when the public feels that entitled to your private life, you build the fortress. You turn to legal weapons. You make everyone sign an NDA.
But here's the wild twist. As we're about to see, the ultimate weapon of privacy, the non-disclosure agreement, is actually deeply flawed when it comes to protecting a reputation.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because this legal paradox is mind-blowing. Let's look at the NDA itself.
Yeah, I was reading the piece from the WED luxury magazine, and it turns out NDAs are no longer just for billionaires covering up scandals.
Not at all. They are the new ultimate status symbol in the luxury wedding industry. Wedding planners are saying that the ultimate flex isn't having your wedding photos published in Vogue anymore.
The ultimate flex of prestige is having absolutely zero social media footprint. Extreme privacy is the new wealth.
It is a massive cultural shift. You are proving your status by your absence from the public eye.
But imagine you're a luxury wedding vendor, right? Imagine you are Jack Henry, the luxury photographer interviewed in the magazine.
Oh man, yeah. You shoot these ultra-exclusive events. You take the absolute best photos of your entire career.
And because you signed an NDA, your portfolio is legally trapped in a vault. You are building this incredible body of work that no one will ever see.
It completely changes the dynamic of the industry. But let's examine the legal reality of these contracts, because this brings us to the University of Florida Law Review article by Mark Fenster.
This article focuses on what he calls reputational NDAs, or RNDAs, and it exposes a critical legal vulnerability.
Which is that secrecy is always vulnerable to defection. Because information is intangible, it moves freely, costlessly, and immediately.
Okay, but I have to challenge this premise.
Go for it.
If I'm a billionaire, I have an army of elite lawyers. If a guest goes to my wedding, signs the NDA, and then leaks a blurry photo of my floral arrangements to Reddit, I am going to bury them in litigation.
Right. We know the Trump campaign reportedly used NDAs with $10 million financial penalties.
So how is secrecy vulnerable if I have a $10 million penalty hanging over the leaker's head?
Yes, you have an army of lawyers. And yes, you can technically sue them. But the Law Review article explicitly warns against doing exactly that.
Oh, why?
This is what legal scholars call the breach paradox. Think about the mechanics of the justice system. If Swift sues a guest for breaching the wedding NDA, her lawyers have to file a civil complaint in a court of law.
Okay, right.
Court dockets, by design, are public records. In order to legally enforce the secret and demand those damages, you have to publicly acknowledge the secret in a court filing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you have to enter the leaked information into the public record to prove it was breached.
So you literally can't sue in secret. The very act of suing draws massive global media attention to the exact thing you wanted to hide in the first place.
Exactly. It triggers what is known as the Streisand effect.
For anyone who doesn't know, the Streisand effect is named after Barbara Streisand. She sued a photographer in 2003 for posting an aerial photo of her coastal mansion online.
And before the lawsuit, almost no one had even seen the photo.
Right. But the massive media coverage of the lawsuit caused millions of people to go look at it. Her attempt to hide it is what actually made it famous.
Precisely. And the Law Review article provides historical examples of this paradox in action regarding NDAs.
Like who?
We'll look at the attempts to enforce reputational NDAs by public figures like Bill O'Reilly, Donald Trump, and Harvey Weinstein. When the Trump campaign tried to aggressively enforce NDAs against staffers, or when journalists began investigating Weinstein.
The existence of the NDAs themselves became the massive news stories.
Exactly. The aggressive enforcement drew far more attention and discovery than if they had just let the initial leaks fade away. As the article points out, an NDA is essentially a flashing neon sign to journalists.
Let me use an analogy here. A reputational NDA isn't actually a concrete wall, it's a paper scarecrow.
Oh, I like that.
From a distance, it looks terrifying. It keeps the casual trespassers and the nervous guests away. But the moment a highly motivated crow or a journalist realizes the scarecrow can't actually move without destroying itself,
The illusion is completely broken.
that is the perfect way to look at it. This raises the ultimate question. If you can't realistically sue someone without causing a massive PR disaster, what is the true purpose of the contract?
It's just smoke and mirrors.
Yes. The answer is that it's a psychological deterrent. It's a formal, intimidating boundary. It sets the tone for the guests that discretion is not optional.
It relies entirely on the psychological fear of the lawsuit rather than the actual physical execution of it.
It's a mechanism to exert control in an environment where true control is actually impossible.
Okay, what a wild journey today has been. Let's zoom out and synthesize all of this.
We started with the staggering logistics of decoy venues and Wagatha Christie leak traps.
We explored the fallout of the guest list, from furious local bartenders dreading an MSG lockdown to internet conspiracy theorists suffering genuine psychological distress over an engagement.
And at the absolute center of it all is a guest list of 1,200 people, all supposedly bound by a digital NDA that turns out to be a legal illusion.
It perfectly encapsulates the modern dilemma. How do you navigate being known by everyone in the world while desperately wanting to be truly seen by almost no one?
Exactly. And look, I know you listening right now probably aren't handing out non-disclosure agreements at your next dinner party.
No, I'm certainly not. But think about how we all do this on a smaller scale. Think about how you curate your close friends' stories on Instagram.
Or how you carefully manage your digital footprint, or untag yourself from bad photos. We are all constantly trying to control our own narratives in a world that feels incredibly overexposed.
We are all, in our own ways, trying to build smaller, safer rooms to exist in.
Which leaves me with one final thought for you to mull over. We have spent the last 20 years using the internet to prove we exist. Pics or it didn't happen.
Yeah, we broadcast our meals, our vacations, our relationships, our weddings.
But as extreme privacy becomes the ultimate luxury commodity for the elite, as a completely zero social media presence becomes the goal, how long will it be before the rest of us decide that having absolutely no digital footprint at all is the ultimate flex of true status?
Something to think about the next time the cameras flash.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.